As we arrive on the date of March the 5th of 2023, we mark the 45th episode of the show Too Long Didn't Scroll, the show for you if you don't like scrolling through long newsfeed to get your daily news fix. With a quick listen on platforms like YouTube and most podcast apps, you can get a quick summary of the previous day's news events to get your day started, and learn what was news on any particular day. With that out of the way, let's get into today's episode. The events of March the 5th of 2023 start with a snapshot of the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, an ethnic and territorial conflict between the peoples and nations of Armenia and Azerbaijan. It erupted in the early 1990s in the unstable post-Soviet states after the forced expulsion of ethnic Azerbaijani from the Nagorno-Karabakh region, escalating guerrilla standoffs into full-blown war. Ethnic Armenians of the region, intending to secure the region for and reunite with Armenia, declared the region independent and established the largely unrecognized Republic of Artsakh, which fought against Azerbaijan forces for the duration of the war. The first iteration of the wars died down by 1994 until a resurgence in violence for a brief period in 2020, when clashes erupted, again between the previously mentioned parties. While proposals at peace to end the conflict definitively have been held, with the recent one back on February the 16th, it appears sporadic clashes and conflict will continue, as today, a series of border clashes with a yet unknown cause occurred at the Lachin Corridor, linking the Nagorno-Karabakh enclave to the rest of Armenia, which has been a point of contention due to it linking a conflict zone. Several Armenian police officers and Azerbaijan soldiers opened fire upon each other for unclear reasons that each side blamed each other for, killing 3 officers and 2 soldiers. In response to the incident, Azerbaijan's defense ministry has suggested creating a stronger checkpoint along the main road to avoid any such violent clashes in the future. Moving on over to the country of Yemen, the Yemeni civil war continues to rage on between the Houthi movement in the country's north and western regions, forces aligned with the internationally recognized Yemeni government in the east, and forces aligned with jihadist terrorist organizations al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, or ISIS, which have wreaked havoc throughout the country by carrying out attacks on both factions. However, as of today, al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has likely lost one of its principal leaders in the form of Hamoud al-Tamimi, describing him as a quote-unquote media official, devoted to striking American interests in the region and serving on the leadership council of al-Qaeda's Arabian Peninsula operations. As of today, al-Qaeda has officially acknowledged his death in the wake of a February 26th American drone strike on his residence, dealing a blow to the organization's operations as American forces crack down on what they consider one of al-Qaeda's more dangerous branches. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, protests have erupted across the country in the wake of a government proposal titled the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program, which would phase out outdated means of public transportation, with particular targets identified as the jeepney, small bus-like vehicles based on large vans, and utility minivans. In an effort to modernize the Philippines' public transport systems and make them more environmentally friendly, newer, more eco-friendly vehicles are proposed to take the place of all such outdated means of transport in the future. Such a proposal has been met with anger by the multitudes of jeepney and van drivers across the country over fears that the program will endanger their jobs and livelihoods. Members of a group of 40,000 jeepney drivers and the United Transport Federation have taken to a large-scale strike hoping to halt the program from occurring before its current deadline in June, though the Philippine Land Transportation and Franchising Board has claimed around 94% of transport groups do not support such protests in favor of the program, and will be going ahead with the program in spite of the protests, albeit with a deadline extension to the end of the year. While the country's government has urged jeepney drivers to consider how the cuts in service will affect commuters, while many schools and places of work switch to online models.